Bonjour, mon cœur. It's me, your Archeon of Wisdom. Today we're drawing some fan art. You guys, it's Papa Meat fan art. You'll see the references, because I took screenshot references, because I'm such a fucking loser. But today I'm gonna bring you some news, some sketch and news. And you can see I'm actually properly working in layers. Look at that. Wow. Sort of kind of getting the work of layers, you know. Shout out to Papa Me and Wendy Goon who inspire me. Oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna get on with the news. I just want to let y'all know I do this ish in one take, unscripted, pretty much most of the time. I mean, I have general outlines. You guys will see on my Twitter I post like the general outlines for projects and stuff like that. But yeah, generally I pretty much always do this unscripted and in one take, because I'm lazy. And actually this is like a job where you have to actually work. You don't, yeah, who knew you don't get to actually not work just because you're a YouTuber. But anyway, top of our day, we're going to talk about Eugenia Cooney. I don't think that I have talked too much about her on this channel, if at all. But like, I'm super familiar with Eugenia and her background. I've followed her, I've watched her in the past. I've like kind of sort of been in her community. I'm not a big fandom person anymore, really. I kind of haven't been a huge fandom person since I was like 17 or 18 maybe. Kind of I grew out of it. But like, yeah, so I know about Eugenia. And if you guys don't know about Eugenia, she is a beauty influencer. She's a makeup influencer. And she is known for having how do I say this in a nice way? She's known for having a disorder, an eating disorder. I don't want to censor myself too much, so, because it is what it is, but, and like, it's not that uncommon. I mean, I have an eating disorder. You know, half the people who grew up in the 90s have eating disorders. Not to invalidate it, but I don't know what I'm trying to say, y'all. The focus of the news with her is that she's been going off the internet for quite a while. There was a lot of really terrible speculation about her well-being, because she was going off the internet. She had this campaign where she had come back for a while and she was doing a lot of food vlog content. Excuse me. And yeah, and she just kind of dropped off the face of the earth. So people were very rudely speculating, in my opinion, about her physical well-being. But we have news now of why she has been off of her TikTok, off of her social medias, and that is because she is being involved in a lawsuit. Yes, correct. Eugenia Cooney involved in lawsuit, which is interesting, shocking, questionable. Mostly because of what it revolves around. So it's a case lawsuit revolving around parents doing a collective suit against Eugenia Cooney for child endangerment, on the basis that TikTok was not restricting her content and not doing what they needed to do in place of protecting children by restricting her content in some way or whatever, what have you. There was a period of time where she was, like, kicked off of, like, banned off of TikTok and stuff, but regardless, she has been deposed. They did deny the deposal, though, for her statement, but yes, she is currently the subject of a shoot, which, honestly, like, I get it. However, it feels a little like mothers against drunk driving type stuff. Like, I get it's bad. Like, I do understand the logic and the moral standing here, of course, but is it necessarily Eugenia's fault? I don't know. I don't think I agree with that, you know. And, you know, I've always kind of had the opinion that Eugenia Cooney should be allowed to live. Yes, I do understand she has an eating disorder, and I do understand the content is dangerous for kids. As someone who was exposed to dangerous eating disorder content as a child, I do agree with that. So I do think that there needs to be, like, some kind of age restriction. I mean, I feel like that's fine, but suing her, that's a whole, like, it's a whole nother thing, because it really sets a dangerous precedent. And I don't know if you guys understand how important case law is in the United States, but case law sets a precedent for what can and cannot be applied legally, you know? So for example, things said in the Supreme Court, things ruled on by the Supreme Court, that is our basis for how the law reflects. For example, if the Supreme Court says, hey, it's okay to do XYZ, and you go out and you do XYZ, and a cop stops you, there is case law to back you up, so that, you know, even if you do get in trouble with the police or you do get a ticket, you can advocate for yourself in court. And that's why case law is so important. Because it really sets a precedent. Now, the danger with this is setting a precedent that, setting a precedent that certain things that may or may not be within your control are dangerous for kids, and therefore you should not be allowed to exist in a forum that, or a space that is allowed for kids. And this can be applied very, very broadly, because we are in current times, right? Who's to say that someone can't say, oh, well, being trans is bad for kids, so no more trans creators, no more trans visibility, you know, being exposed to queerness at an early age is bad for kids, so none of that, you know. Smoking cigarettes, medical marijuana, is bad for kids, so none of that for those creators, you know. It just sets a dangerous precedent of what you can and cannot do, but also what you can and cannot say, you know, because again, it's going to be, oh, well, what's good for kids to hear? Is it good for kids to hear about political discourse in the Middle East? Is it good for kids to hear about other kids dying in Gaza? Well, clearly not. Obviously not. So, no more covering Gaza or the war. You know, this is a dangerous precedent that it sets overall based upon case law. I mean, the overall problem with this comes in where what is defined as good or proper for kids is completely up to the parents. And that is your right. But that does not always equate the same moral standing that it does for everybody. For example, I would never let my kids play Roblox. I would never let my kids play Minecraft. Do I think that Minecraft and Roblox are inherently bad for kids? Yes, I think it opens them up to an environment that is not safe. That's my opinion, though. That is not to say that I think every single kid out there should be completely sheltered from those things, or sheltered from video games as a whole. But when we set precedences in law like this, it tends to make the laws more black and white. So that's a really dangerous precedent there. We're going to shift forward a little bit. We're going to talk about some kick drama. I don't talk about kick very often. I more so talk about Twitch, I guess, just because I'm not super fond of kick and their content and everything. But, drama's happening over there. Another YouTuber that we haven't talked about yet, Sam Pepper, was involved in an incident where a child was unfortunately injured. I believe the child was blinded or had some kind of ocular damage. And this is because Sam Pepper was, from the video that I saw, shooting fireworks directly at young kids. And that resulted in damage that he pretty quickly found out about. It's all in the video if you guys unfortunately want to look at it, but yeah, so thanks, Kick. You did it. I really don't love the platform. I don't. I don't know. If I was the family, I'd probably be suing. But we're going to move on. We're going to talk about some TikTok news. We're going to talk about Somber and the drama that he's currently in. And that is drama because a fan recently went to his show. And she was older. She's 25. And she had a very bad time, very stinky experience, and she made a story time about it on TikTok, and it went viral. And a lot of it has to do with his actions, his responses, and how he acts around his majority underage fans. Now, Somber is himself 20 years old. He's about to be 21. So let's get that straight. Because I'm seeing a lot of conversations about this revolving around this infantilization that he's kind of started about himself, where he's like, I'm just 20. I'm only 20 years old. I'm the youngest kid ever. No, babe, you're not a kid. You're 20 years old. Calm down. I know that the brain does not fully develop until 25, but, like, your brain is almost there, Pookie. You're not a child. So, I don't love that. I don't love that conversation. Now, this conversation was kind of shifted because Somber had claimed that he was getting a lot of hate based on his appearance, and that it was propagated by this creator. I definitely didn't get that vibe, but okay, sure, it's your life, you know. It's your experience. I get you. I'm very against, like, body shaming and hate for appearances and stuff like that. I think that's very lame, very loser behavior. So, not a fan of that. But in order to shift that conversation, he basically made a response. A very poor, very un-PR educated, very wah-wah, woe's me response, where he basically said, but I'm getting body shamed. Okay, but you're preying upon your child fans. That's the conversation here. And by deflecting all of the hate off of himself, he put it all upon this other person, which is not fair either. And also in the process called her, like, an old hag, basically, for being 25 at his shows full of 13-year-olds. Very weird, very questionable. This is gonna bite him in the butt, for real. So we'll see how that develops. But we're running out of time, y'all. We're running out of time today. I just want to say that this character's name is John St. John. He is the slasher. Okay, he's the furry slasher. Yeah, I think stop infantilizing grown men when they act weird around kids. if it was a woman, you wouldn't behave this way. You'd be like, ew, gross, stinky. Or maybe you won't, because society loves a childlike woman, right? I love you guys. Have a good day, have a good weekend, be kind to animals. Vive la France, free Palestine, free Sudan. I love you guys. Bye! Enjoy my beautiful portrait of John St. John. I added some details later. You'll see in the thumbnail.